So next you just want to look over it. You want to look over it and see, you know, if there's any sharp nails sticking out like there is there, and you want to hammer them in. So get your hammer, just look over it and, you know, bash it all back into place. Whack those nails back in. You might want to tighten it up at this stage, put a few extra nails or screws in if you need to, if you've got an older pallet that's falling apart. But this one's in fairly good nick, so there's not a lot that I really have to do to it. So the next step that you want to do is give it a quick sand, just to get all the splinters off it. Here's some tips that I want to tell you at this stage. Any pallet that you use internationally must be stamped with this symbol. So keep an eye out for that when you're looking around for your pallet. It's an international standard, so the HT on that means that it's been heat treated rather than chemical treatment, and that means it's safe to use. So the top line refers to the country that it originated from, the CA, dash, doubles, triple, quadruple zeros, whatever it is, that means it's come from Canada. So they all represent a different country that it's come from. The IPPC stands for the International Plant Protection Convention, and it's overseen by the Food and Agricultural Organization. Because pallets are used for food transportation, they must adhere to a strict safety regulation. So avoid the pallet if it has any other mark on it. For example, the MB, if you see that mark, it means it's been treated with methyl bromide, so stay clear of that. Australian pallets are safe to use, so they don't need to get marked with that symbol unless it's shipped overseas. So domestic pallets are safe to use because we don't use any harsh chemicals to treat pallets anymore because of the food regulation safety. My advice is just to not use any pallets that have nasty spills on them, such as oil or stuff like that. Another tip is, if you're concerned at all about termites, you can get some cypress pine and make some feet out of them. So the cypress pine has got natural termite resistant properties, and it'll help just ward off the termites. If you just whack them on as feet and screw them on, it'll give it a bit more balance as well. Perfect. Okay, so the next step is that you want to seal it up so it can hold the soil. So what I've got here is a few things I want to show you. I've got this weed mat or jute mat, but you can also get some weed matting from Bunnings or some other landscape shops. The jute matting is going to go at the front, and what I'm going to use at the back to seal it off is this blue plastic. So this blue plastic, I was really lucky actually and found it on a curbside cleanup. So just take your measurement of what you want to cut it to. So then you just want to cut the excess off at the bottom, and then, you know, you've got the back of your vertical garden. So you can see I've sealed up the back of the vertical garden. Now the last thing to do is seal up the bottom. You can use the your excess plastic or weed matting. So I've sealed up the back, now to seal up the front, and you can line the front. You can even use shade cloth. Just measure it to the length that you want it, and then cut it. As you can see, it's coming along pretty nicely. It's starting to look really good. It's one last thing you could do at this stage. If you wanted to, give it a coat in some nice oil. I'm going to use linseed oil. It's a nice natural product. So as you can see, it's all ready now for planting up. So let's go pot it up.